Neural DSP has finally done what we've all been wanting them to do for a very long time. If you've been in the world of guitar in the last decade, you know that Neural DSP has been putting out some of the best guitar plugins that you can ever buy. One of their most famous plugins is the Fortin Nameless Suite. It provides all the Djenty Djents that you could ever want. And you may have noticed that lately Neural DSP has been doing X versions of all of their best plugins, giving the extra bells and whistles and features that they've been adding to their more recent plugins and giving them back to some of their old good plugins. And now we finally have the Fortin Nameless Suite X. Alright, so that's still a work in progress of a song that I kind of got inspired to write using this plugin, but oh my god, let's just do a quick little walkthrough of the plugin anyways to show you what we've got if you're not familiar with the original Nameless Suite, or if you just want to see how cool this thing is even better now with the X version. So right now I am basically on the Rabia lead from Rabia Masad, his preset. That's the lead I used in the song you just heard. It's just a really good... It's a really good lead tone, and I never used to use the Nameless for lead tones, but now I just might do so. So basically, if you want to reset everything to default out of the gate, right, you got the Djenty tone, but look at this. There's actually a different skin that I really like. This is the original skin, which it's nice and everything. Like, I don't mind it. That's like, oh, look, it's the Fortin Nameless. However, I like the blackout version. Stealth, it looks so cool, and I'm so glad that this is here to give it a staple look for the X version. And a lot of this is pretty much still the same plugin that we all love. It's been revamped and optimized, but there are some additional things to this plugin that weren't there before. So you still have all the original awesome Zool hex drive and grind pedals that we all love to use and everything. On the amp side, like I said, we've got a different skin, and there's a little more higher quality UI. The graphics for everything are just a little bit better. They're revamped and more high definition. There's more pixels there. The cab section is actually, for the most part, the same, except now we have a room mic that we can add into things, which is really awesome. They've been doing that since, I think, Archetype Petrucci, and it just allows you to get some really awesome tones and variability with solo stuff and ambient stuff. It's a really great addition to have in your cab section. We've got the 9-band EQ like as usual, but it's like revamped with the look and everything. I really like it. And then if we go over to the post effects, guess what? We have post effects. No longer do you have to use an outside plugin to do post effects in this plugin. You have a delay and a reverb, which is like all you would ever need. And it's really awesome now because you have a delay and reverb that you can add to ambient guitar tones. You can add it to your lead tones and get some of the stuff that you heard me playing in here. It adds so much more versatility to this plugin, and it could be your all-in-one plugin for rhythm tones and lead tones, and they just sound amazingly good. So some other things that they've added to this plugin now is you actually have the better built-in tuner, where you can actually do a live tuner, where you don't need to have it displayed right up front like this. You can actually have it down in the bottom left corner and have it display your tuning. You also have a tap for your timing on your delay and all that, and then you also have a metronome now. So the metronome feature is really great to have in these plugins, especially if you use them in standalone. And it basically just allows you to pick from a different amount of time signatures. You can increase the volume. There's a couple different sounds you can pick for these, the tempo and the rhythm in terms of how it breaks it up, and you can do all these pattern things down here to change the drums and give you like a metronome, right? And it's as simple as that. Like, it's really good. Different time signatures, all the fun stuff. So if you're playing it standalone and you don't want to write out a drum part, you can get some basic stuff going just to practice with whatever you're playing. Now, the two biggest features that I love about what they've been adding to these X versions of their plugins, and I stated this when I talked about the Archetype Gojira X, is the transpose and the doubler effect. So the doubler effect is something that is really awesome to have when you're playing by yourself and you don't want to record 2 tracks of your guitars and do the whole thing with the DAW, and you're just in the standalone app. So I've got a cool little rhythm section here, right? And that's going to be a center pan mono signal. But if you turn on the doubler, all of a sudden now you've got 2 guitars on either side, and it's a more full sound. And when you're practicing with other songs, or you're just kind of messing around and playing with yourself, it just makes it more immersive, and you really just feel what you're playing so much more. And the last part, which is also really cool and extremely fitting for this Djenty plugin, is the transpose feature, okay? So that allows you to bring your tuning of your guitar or bass or whatever you're running through this plugin down or up, I think a whole octave. So if I'm playing my 7-string here in just the normal tuning with the low B, that's cool and all, but if I crank it down to, let's say, -8, right? We're gonna all of a sudden now you're super low, like 8-9 string world, and you don't even need an 8 or 9 string to do it. You can do this on a 6 string if you really wanted to. Technically, if you wanted to bring the transpose all the way down to -12 semitones or a whole octave, and you're playing on your 6 string, well, now you're in drop E territory for like an 8-string guitar. So that's something that's really useful, where you can change the tuning of your guitar almost on the fly and find endless possibilities. You might play a riff that just doesn't sound really good in the tuning that you have, and you might be limited with the kind of guitars that you have. And if you're sitting here going, and you're just not feeling it in that tuning, you want to drop it down -8 semitone. Now it just sounds like a Djenty Thali, like massive boom boom sound, and you just drag the dial down by 8 semitones. So here's the thing now. I used to say the Archetype Gojira X was my favorite plugin from Neural DSP. That may have just changed with the release of this nameless Fortin X Suite, because this gets a lot closer to the tones that I'm looking for, especially if I want to go for that kind of progressive metal, jaunty, Djenty sound. This really gets you there. And now with the addition of the post effects with the reverb and the delay and the room mic with the cab section, you can get some really awesome soaring lead tones now within the plugin. And oh my goodness, with the transpose and the doubler, this has almost become the ultimate like modern metal guitar plugin that you could possibly get. I'm not declaring right now that I like it better than the Archetype Gojira X, but oh, they are kind of neck and neck at this point. So if you already own the original Nameless Suite, then you can get this new X version for free. And if you don't have the original, then you should probably definitely get this plugin, because it is amazingly good for almost everything now. They're starting to make all their plugins just all-inclusive for all kinds of tones, cleans, rhythms, and solo stuff, lead stuff. It's just like it can do almost everything now, so you could just get this plugin and not really need anything else, unless you want some extra bells and whistles, like the synthesizer section with Archetype Rabia, which I also really love that plugin. If you got this plugin, you just might not need anything else. So it saves you money, it saves you time, computer power, and oh, you get some amazing tones out of it. So let me know what you think down in the comments, and before you go, make sure you watch the videos on your screen, and I will see you guys in the next video with some more brutal metal.